In an earlier review of the Erebus Titan, I said this: you can tell immediately that this is not Erebus's first release. This is a product of multiple design cycles and hard-learned lessons. Feeling the watch in hand, I suspect that 500 metres rating is conservative. And then I also said this: I guarantee prototype iterations were brutal on this watch. At the time, I suggested that the Titan felt like the end result of several unseen prototype iterations. I think I may have found one of them. Welcome back to HoroLogical. To understand what's actually going on here, we need to be honest about the current state of play in watchmaking. Chinese manufacturers today possess two things at an extraordinary level: manufacturing capability and scalable delivery at industrial volume. What they generally do not possess, at least not yet, is high-level, original design leadership, deep localised marketing expertise in Western collector markets. Now imagine this scenario. Into that manufacturing environment walk two Microbrand owners, both experienced collectors, and one in particular with years of hands-on exposure to hundreds and hundreds of watches. You can probably see where this is going. Let's start with the design sheet. Both of these watches were clearly scripted from. Oversized saturation diver, check. Seiko NH35 movement, check. Helium escape valve, also check. Oversized crown, check. They both measure 7.5mm. Double dome sapphire crystal, check. At the design level brief, these watches are identical. The same problem to solve, the same engineering intent. Once you move from concept to execution, the differences do begin to appear. The Erebus loom is noticeably stronger. That comes from multiple BGW9 layers applied but also cured properly between those layers. A small detail that adds time, cost and complexity to the manufacturing process. The crown in the Erebus Titan is at 4 o'clock. The crown in the San Martin is at 3 o'clock. The bezels. The Erebus Titan has a ceramic bezel insert. The San Martin has a machined metal bezel. Think Yachtmaster but on steroids. The date configuration: on the Erebus it has a framed date window at 6 o'clock. On the San Martin it doesn't have a date, it has a ghost date position. That last point matters. Jody knows that ghost dates are a hard no for many watch collectors and he deliberately sidesteps that controversy. The clasp is identical in both watches and a little bit inappropriate for both of them because it isn't a double security clasp. There are small differences in case diameter and thickness, so let's deal with that properly. The Erebus uses a stamped laser engraved caseback. The San Martin uses an embossed shark caseback. That embossed shark protrudes slightly further, which accounts for the thickness difference. As for the case diameter, the Erebus helium escape valve has a protruding collar. The San Martin valve is flush mounted. Same valve mechanism, different case interface. Mystery solved. Let's look at a spec slide of the Erebus Titan. The case diameter in this watch is 44mm, the thickness is 15.5mm, lug width is 22mm, lug to lug 48.5mm. The movement is a Seiko NH35, power reserve will be round about 41 hours. The loom is BGW9 Super Luminova. The crystal is a double domed sapphire with clear AR coating on the inside. The water resistance is 500 metres and the weight as supplied on this bracelet is 200 225 grams. Now let's look at a spec slide of the San Martin SN0147. The case material is 316L stainless steel, case diameter 43mm, thickness 15.9mm, lug width 22mm, the lug to lug 48.5mm. The movement is a Seiko NH35 3Hz, power reserve 41 hours. The crystal is sapphire double domed with clear anti-reflective coating. Water resistance 1000 metres, and sized for my 7-inch wrist it's 225 grams. This brings me back to something I said in my Erebus Titan review. Feeling the watch in hand, I suspect that 500 metres rating is conservative. At the time, I felt the 500 metre dive watch rating was a little conservative given the construction and materials used. The San Martin is rated to 1000 metres, using effectively the same core design. This shows two very different philosophies. Erebus doesn't oversell the watch, they're building trust. San Martin are pushing the design to its perceived limit. Neither approach is wrong. One is conservative and brand protective, the other is confidence forward. I opened the San Martin. The helium escape valve is real. It is spring loaded. It does open under pressure. I can't confirm the exact release pressure. I can't confirm the calibration of it, but it is functional. The gaskets used are viton fluoroelastomer, coloured black. On the Erebus Titan, the gaskets are also viton, but coloured versions. That incurs a small additional cost. I've bought plenty of these in the past, and I know the cost differences between the different colours. But functionally, the performance is the same. Viton is exactly what you want. Excellent chemical resistance, excellent long-term compression recovery, ideal for crown assemblies with repeated mechanical use. Both watches have a machined identical NH35 movement holder. It's machined out of metal. Both watches use a wavy washer or a wave spring underneath the caseback. Its job is to maintain constant compression on the caseback gasket over time, compensating for machine tolerances, temperature changes and material relaxation, rather than relying purely on torque. The wave washer keeps the sealing system elastically pre-loaded, which helps preserve long-term water resistance and protects the gasket from uneven crushing during assembly. It's a small detail, but it's proper tool watch engineering implementation, the kind you only see when a case is designed with real pressure management in mind. Some commenters questioned how serious this watch really is. Having opened it, I can assure you this is absolutely serious engineering. On paper, the San Martin lands much cheaper. In the UK, VAT and import charges narrow that gap, but there's no escaping it. The Erebus Titan is the more expensive watch. What you get for that extra money is excellent customer support, multiple dial and colour variants, a more refined case and bracelet, a fully resolved design, not just a single execution. The San Martin is one watch. The Erebus Titan is a range of watches. Several of my collector friends already own the Erebus Titan, so I went the other way. The San Martin is the most brutal, angular, unfinished version of this design. It lacks the final layer of Microbrand polish, and I love it for that. It feels closer to a raw industrial design project. The relationship between OEM manufacturing and ODM development is complicated behind the scenes, but it becomes much more simple when you look at the end products. There is always a risk when you work with a manufacturer. They learn, they adapt, they can copy. The fact that San Martin released this watch in this form actually highlights how strong the Erebus refinement process really is. This doesn't look like bad faith, it looks like a symbiotic relationship, and when you combine a manufacturing powerhouse like San Martin with strong design instincts, proper marketing and customer-focused execution, you start to see just how much untapped potential exists at this cost envelope. That's the real story here. And remember, watch collecting isn't logical, but it is HoroLogical.